So welcome back to Rufus Duck Adventures. Carrying on with my series of Vango backpacking tents. This is the F10 series Krypton 2, which is a freestanding dome style tent. This one is, well, I can put a tape measure on it. I've got my tape measure here. Comes in at about 400mm long and it's about 150 round. And let's put it on the weighing scales right now. So the scales are showing just tent alone by itself. Look at that down there. What have we got? See that? Let's try that again. That's better. Just over 2.2 kilograms, 2218, something like that. So 2.2k, I think that's what it states in the on the Vango website. Anyway, we'll take this out and have a little look at what's inside the bag. Just before I take it out of its bag, it comes with these top loading stuff sack and these compression straps, but I find if you just wrap them this way, it sometimes bulges in the middle. So if you cross it over like this, it tends to I mean, obviously the straps are still flat on the back and it tends to hold it together better, but that's just a little tip for you. On most of these bags work better this way. So here we have the contents of the bag. We got the inner with its like lovely red ground sheet. The pegs, these pegs are a Vango aluminium 6-inch lightweight, kind of like, well, more of a U-shape than a V-shaped peg. I really like them actually. I've never had any problem with them pulling out, and they stack together extremely well. So a few of them in there. The whole pole system, which obviously goes to the inner, and it's a inner pitch first, so that'll work, and then obviously the fly sheet with this little tie. So that's the full contents. We'll put this up together, put this up now, and take a look at the inner going up. So this is the ground sheet pegged down, and the poles going over the top. One of the things that Vango are usually quite good at is color coding their poles, so you don't get things the wrong way around. But they didn't do a great job on the Krypton. So for instance, I've actually put an orange tab here and an orange bit on the end of the pole. Their orange idea was this brown bit on the end, and that's not particularly orange in my opinion. So, and then there's no brown bit on here marking that's going there. So I tagged these two ends orange. We find at this end, they didn't do too bad at this end because they put a little blue tab and a blue pole end, but no such thing at the other end. And then the same issue continues when you come to the fly sheet. So I marked the fly sheet as well. But anyway, this just pops up onto here quite nicely, and then you can build the tent in the usual sort of way up. Best if it's not too windy when you're doing this, because it makes for a bit of a struggle because you can't guy it out at all. You can only rely on the 4 pegs on each corner. But anyway, I'll get this pegged up, clipped up, and we'll take a look at the inner. So here you go. This is the inner clipped up. And one thing you'll notice about this Vango and F10 series tents in general is they're strong, they're well built. You look at the amount of clips that are on this. There's loads of them, yeah, loads of clips, not just 1 or 2, but, and that one got clips that way, and this one clips the opposite way, so they're oppositely clipped. You look at a lot of other lightweight tents, and the places where they manage to save their weight, get their weight savings, is just not putting as many clips on them. This is really well put together. You know, there's no weak points here that you see a lot of places. A lot of tents have no strength in this. Top crossing bar, really wide. Look how that is vertical here. The internal space inside is huge. it's a massive tent, and then you'll see when the fly sheet goes on, the vestibules are pretty good as well. O-ring doors, So they just slide all the way back and go into their little dump pockets, 2 on either sides. Other little feature you see about this, look at this. This is rounded over on the top there. So when your fly sheet comes over it, there's no snagging points. Yeah, and then on the actual fly, there's a little ring that connects into that. So it kind of holds it steady. Again, like the other series of tents, this is solid on the top, mesh on the sides, solid lower down. Keep the wind and the draft off your head. You'll see here, nice and high. Wind and draft off your head. Waterproof section over the top with a DWR coating. Any water that does come off your fly sheet lands down here, down there, onto the floor. Doesn't go in your inner tent. Fantastic feature. Plenty of airflow, not a problem. So here we go, the Krypton with its fly sheet on. Beautiful looking tent. Fantastic colour. That beautiful mossy green that Vango does. If you want a tent that'll disappear into the background, this is the colour. I've said it before, but it is just unbelievable. Yeah, fantastic. So this tent comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the same on the other side. So that's 10. Only 10 pegs for such a large tent. That's a very small amount of pegs, and the reason is there's only 2 guy lines. Literally one there and one at the back, because it's very similar. It's very symmetrical, but as you can see, the poles at this end, which is the head end, are a little bit taller than the poles at the foot end. So it has a bit of a steeper end here and a shallower end there, but effectively it's the same each side. And as you can see, the guy line just goes up onto that, up into a little mesh up into there. I've done quite a lot of modifications on this tent, including these. So this, I think, is just as a little strap down to there, and I didn't like the fact that it didn't allow a lot of ventilation. So I replaced that little strap with a little length paracord and a little mini line lock, and that just allows me to pull it out a bit further and give me a few more options when setting it up. The fly sheet has a little hook system. Just back this off a minute, you'll see. This little hook just hooks straight onto that. There's a little bit of cord that comes out from the red metal thing, and your hook just goes in there, and then you just tighten it up, and then obviously your peg holds this little line out here. On these, there is a little Velcro tab on all 4 corners. Just keep it the fly connected to the poles. At the door vestibules, we've got a stone flap with 2 Velcros on it, and it comes with 2 little lengths of paracord. I took that one off there and added it to that one, and then added a bungee cord, and that allows me to just do this of an evening so much easier. And again, I pulled it out. It means I can still tie it down there if I want to. The bungee cord will still go to it, and it gives me a little bit more airflow underneath here. So that's another modification I've done. As you can tell, there's a tie back there and a tie back there, so the door can open out either way on all 4 doors, so you can have it wide open or however you want for the wind. Really versatile. I find that I do change it around as I move through the day and the evening, and then in the morning the next day I tend to swap it around, so it works quite well. As you can see here, I've done the same thing at this end, give myself a lot more space there, a lot more airflow. I can still hunker it down if I need to, but it gives me the option of opening it up. And then I've done a little modification here. Grey guy lines, dead easy to trip up over. Put a little bit of red tag on it, and it just helps you see it when you're walking around your tent. So right, we'll have a little unzip. So here we go. That one's on a bungee cord, so I've got this one set up the other way around by the looks of it. That one comes off there, and then 1 Velcro. No tie back, no little clip to hold it together to stop zip creep, but then doesn't really need it because they all go into the same peg. This is, as you can see, top zipped as well for a bit of ventilation if you need to. Right then, I'll tie this back and we'll have a look inside. So moving forward into the tent, I've just tied this back, and unfortunately it isn't elasticated. It's one of those ones that are just just bits of material. These come loose after a while in a bit of wind. I wish Vango would put a bit of elastic on every single one of them. A little modification I need to do, actually, cut that off and replace it with a bit of elastic. Funnily enough, their cheaper tents have elastic and these more expensive ones are just material. Don't get that. Anyway, vestibule size, probably a good 600mm plus. Quite a nice big space, to be fair. Really quite generous. And as you can see, this door is ever so slightly smaller than that door, so depending on how you want to set it up, bag down there, boots, and then access from this side. Again, this door zips back, as you can see. Big oval door, goes all the way around and back into its dump pocket. So it doesn't matter which side, which door you want open, you can always get in. Some of them, they're closed off here like this, and it makes getting in from this side very difficult. You're kind of forced to use that door. Whereas this Vango, nah, they just keep it all the way back. Easy peasy, get in how you want. You can see that over the other side. There's the dump pocket, huge big wide open space, and then there's your door opposite. So coming inside the tent, whoa, this is me sitting down inside. Huge amounts of loads of space. Honestly, it's not always easy to tell on a camera, but there's a lot of space here for your bags and getting in and out this way. For this style of tent, it's really good. Really good. Right then, so moving through onto the inside, this is a real two-man tent. It really is, and it's been well thought out and really well designed. So this is the foot end with pockets and pockets. So you got an overhead pocket, you got a big long pocket that's separated up, and then spinning round to what I would deem as the head end. I think I normally sleep it this way. Same thing again, pockets and overhead pocket. Put your torch in there, shine it straight down to where you want to be. Fantastic. It comes with little eyelets all over the place. They're everywhere. On this side, I've just put a little washing line up there if I just want to hang something on. I mean, you can rig it up to your heart's content, but that seems sufficient for me, just to put one little thing in there. And again, I've got that on the little line lock if I want to slacken it off or tighten it up. And again, another little modification. Ground sheet is 70 denier polyester. It doesn't need another ground footprint underneath this. It's more than waterproof and strong enough. I actually do put another ground sheet with it. I use a little sil nylon, one wind sil nylon ground sheet that it comes across here about my feet and about the same just back of my shoulders. But more importantly, what it does is it goes out into the vestibule and it triangulates out on both sides. So it gives me a little dry place to step in, step out, put my bag when the ground's wet. And by going across here, this is where between here and like your shoulders is where all the body weight is. So that's the bit that is most likely to transmit water into the bottom of into the absorbent side of this material. This is your waterproof layer. So that little, I think it weighs 190 grams, and what it allows me to do is gives me 2 vestibule waterproofed effectively, and stop water from coming into the bottom of the ground sheet. So when I'm packing away in the morning, my little sil nylon footprint gets aired out on a tree, in the in the sunshine, and it dries really quickly, and it means this hasn't picked up too much water overnight. So it keeps my my pack weight lighter. Even though I've added 190 grams of ground sheet, I'm not carrying extra water. So yeah, so it's a good little tip that, and it doesn't need it, but I like to do it. So here we go. Here's the door. Easy peasy zips. So one-handed, see how that goes. Oh, look at that. Boom. Into its pocket. Stuff it in there. Huge vestibule. I mean, that's 1 foot, 2 foot, still not even at the end. Loads of space. And like I said outside earlier on, these are vertical. From this point up here, it's vertical. So this is the little loop. There's a little loop there. And that just goes up around the end of your pole. Just connects the two together. There you go. and you can put a trekking pole up into here, slightly reinforced, as you can see. Just hook your trekking pole into this little eyelet in where my finger is, just wrap that around there and then drop it down into here, and that will trekking pole out your corners, stop any flexing in this way in bad wind. That'll work. I normally only take one trekking pole because, to be fair, the wind only ever blows from one side, so that'll do for me. Yeah, it's I think it's, I can't remember the stats now. I should get my tape. Let's get my tape measure and find out. So I try to guess. Right then. Across the bottom, 1.2 meters. Across the top, 1.3 meters. So yeah, a little bit wider at the head end. Not by a lot, but enough. 1.2 I would say is about the minimum you would require, and it is a solid 2.2 meters long with vertical ends. How vertical these ends are. So this is easy for a 6 foot plus length person. 6 foot, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", more easy. As high a mat as you want. Your feet are nowhere near it. Look at that, I've got to lift my feet to there. And then head end, I mean, I'm 5'10", and I'm having to reach for the top of the tent. So it's, the word is cavernous in here. It is absolutely huge. Those are those little Velcro tabs. I haven't tied them on yet, but they can tab on right where the pole connects to the fly. I didn't talk about head height. So I've just measured it with my tape measure, and in the centre to here is 1.50 meters. It's probably 1 metre to this point, and to this point, and to that point, and to where I'm sitting at the moment, which is right at the foot end. I am miles away from that. So you've probably got 1.5 meters of sitting up space between where I am at the moment and here, and then 1 metre wide over there. It's a high tent, it's a wide tent, it's a long tent, it's a well-built tent, it's lightweight, it's a cracking tent. If you need a relatively light, big 2-man tent, this could be a kiddie. It really is fantastic inside here, and it's light and it's airy, and it's, as you can see, pretty well ventilated underneath and around the back and over the top. So yeah, what a great solution to a to 2-man backpacking. So summing up, I would say the Vango Krypton UL2 is a brilliant 2-man tent. It's not so heavy. It seems pretty well built. To be fair, I haven't had it in any really strong winds. You know, maybe the lack of guy lines could be a cause for concern, because the guy lines come from the midpoint instead of protecting the poles. But then again, you've seen the shape of the poles. They're kind of really shallow. They're not steep edged poles. So yes, you will get some wind deflection, but I think for the most part, unless you're in a hurricane, it'll be sufficient. You know, I mean, it's short, it's squat, it's wide, so you don't really need a guy line here, because that's what the material's doing. The material's creating a guy line. What would be the point of having another guy line to there? It's kind of pointless. The trekking pole underneath would be a much better solution if that was blowing in and collapsing on the wind. Again, you know, these are not too steep. That was a little bit steep, but that was kind of the point of pulling that out a little bit more. Yeah, I think it's it's worked for me. I've used it backpacking 2 up, and it's been loads of space in there. It really helps when it's wet and it's rainy, because you've got all that internal space. You can move around, put all your stuff away, and cook in there and do everything. So if you thought that the weather was going to be inclement, that would be a great solution. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this review. I've enjoyed making it. Thought I'd bring this rarely seen Vango Krypton to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully the next one won't be a garden video. It will be a a bit more in the wild. I've got a walk planned. All right, thank you very much. Bye bye.